Hi, I'm Amanda. I really dislike the part of talks where everybody tells you about themselves and their family life and their dogs. You don't care. I've been working with WordPress for a while. I run a couple of WordCamps. I've talked at some camps never about e-commerce, so let's see how it goes. Okay. Zach covered a little bit about e-commerce. I will be honest with you that I will even take it one step further. There is not only no holy grail of WordPress e-commerce plugin heaven. I just don't think that anybody has come up with a really good e-commerce solution, period. They tend to be overly large. As somebody who has live Magento installations, you know, we're all super enthusiastic about WordPress for a variety of reasons. It's not just that it's open source. It has a really elegant file structure. And as soon as you open up Magento or Zencart or, you know, Appaloosa's, you know, Gravy Train cart, they're all, the file structures are so incredibly convoluted, and they all seem to mirror each other. So there are plenty of them out there, but by and large, when clients come to me and want e-commerce, first I hit them over the head with a very large skillet and send them packing, and then when they come back, I generally, you know, say, okay, here's what we have to figure out. Are you a website that sells a few things, or are you a store? Because there's a really huge difference between those two, and you have to think about that. And here is my one sound piece of advice. If it's a store, get up and leave this presentation, because it isn't for you, because WordPress is not there yet, and God willing it will eventually be there, but it's not right now. We were originally only going to cover 3 plugins, Shopp, WP-Ecommerce, which we'll call WPEC for now, and Cart66, which was PHP purchase, but if you pay any attention to any news source for WordPress, obviously I'm sure you're aware about WooCommerce. It's a fork of Shop, and it just seemed folly not to cover it because it's a really promising plugin. So what I tried to do is, rather than cover the minute technicalities of each plugin, which amongst other things is going to be really boring and hard because I've had 3 beers, let's just cover really who each plugin is appropriate for and some of the features and benefits. Okay, so because the plugins tend to like to be confusing, they change names often and use multiple websites. So WP-Ecommerce, which has been around the longest, lives at getshop.com. And then there's also Shopp, separately, which is at shopplugin.net. There's Cart66 and then WooCommerce, which lives at WooThemes. And for the purposes of today, when I talk about Jigo and Woo, I'm going to talk about them together because there isn't a ton of information yet on Woo, and there's still a wide number of similarities between that and Jigo. And by the way, I find people who take notes absolutely endearing. I promise you, this will all be up like 45 seconds after this is over. Save yourself. Have another beer, have a piece of pizza. I've got beautiful eyes. All right. Up here. All right. So Cart66. So I was really, oh, see, no one's ever done that, like with flair. All right. Gone. Yeah, I'm not going to need the microphone. Cart66, which was PHP purchase, and for a really long time there was WP-Ecommerce and there was Shopp, and they had really illustrative differences between them. And then PHP purchase came in, and they just changed their name to Cart66, and it was great because they kind of mixed things up a little bit. Cart66 is really easy to use. It is not the most functional of the plugins, but it is it is the easiest to use. I've tested it with various idiot friends of mine, and I can assure you, seamless. So, I mean, here are the benefits to it, and I really tried to break out every single plugin in the same way, so we were comparing apples to apples. So you can get the digital and physical products. So I mean, you know, you can sell apples, and then you could sell a virtual apple if you wanted to. When I talk about variations, what I'm talking about is you have products, and sometimes they have options, right? Which is, I sell a bar of soap, and that soap comes in 2 sizes. That's one tier of variation. The problem is that so many things have 2 tiers of variation, which means this soap comes in multiple scents and in multiple sizes, or this t-shirt comes in 3 colors and in 3 sizes. So having both tiers is actually an incredibly complicated thing, and most of the plugins currently support that, which is great. None of them support group tier discounts, meaning like if I sell 10 different t-shirts and I buy 2 of one t-shirt, I can get a discount. All of them do that. If I buy 5 of any t-shirt, none of them can combine that discount yet. And actually, as far as I'm aware, the only 2 things that can do that are Expression Engine, remember the plugins for Expression Engine, and Magento through a plugin. Subscriptions are a really big thing now, recurring payments and membership. So Cart66 has that, which is a big deal. It ties into Amazon S3 really easily, which is also a big deal. There are a variety of reasons you want to do that. You have big files, you want to use it as a CDN. Everyone knows what CDN is? I'm totally going to ignore you anyways, but you can raise your hand. CDN is, so you're bringing in WordPress occasionally, as all websites do, becomes slower because you're weighing it down with images and code and other things. So if we bring those images in from a like uber fast server someplace else, that's going to speed up your site. That's a CDN. CDN is the server elsewhere, and there are a variety of CDN services, content delivery network. Amazon S3 is one of them because they serve up everything. So shipping. Shipping's obviously a big deal in that generally what I find, the people that you're going to be using WordPress with client-wise, these are small businesses. I often call them micro businesses. They're a particularly endearing type of client because they've got all kinds of wacky little things about their business method, and they don't want to change it. So which plugins offer which kind of shipping is a big deal. Cart66 is not the most flexible in shipping. They don't offer free shipping, which is a big deal. They only have UPS and USPS, but because it's a newer plugin, just because a plugin doesn't have something today, that could literally change by the time we leave the building, and then again by the time somebody steals your car from outside. So the main important thing to understand about the coding of the plugins, as it was explained to me very slowly in my native tongue, is that some of the plugins rely on shortcodes, and some of them rely on custom post types. And here is the difference, which I'll now screw up, but all the automaticians are out of the country, so it's totally fine. So if the plugin relies on shortcodes, basically what happens is you then have a shortcode for each product, and hopefully for a category. And then in order to create your store, you have to input that shortcode on a page. You make a page and you input a shortcode, either for a category or for each product. Raise your hand if you think that is a gigantic pain in the ass. No, everybody put their hands up. It's a gigantic pain in the ass, unless you sell like 3 products, in which case fine. But clearly that's not a good solution if that's where you have to go. Now, the benefit of using a CPT, custom post type, do we all know what that is? Because I'll just mock you if you don't. Excellent. Well, now we know who's going to dance later. So if you use a custom post type, which is relatively new to what, 3.0, 2.9, whatnot, it creates an archive page auto-magically. I love it when I get to say that, right? Like unicorns dance through your WordPress installation. So it creates that store page for you, which is obviously really nice. Now, some of them offer both. Why would that be good? Because you want them to create the archive for you, but let's say you blog about it later. Look at these awesome new widgets that I just got in, and you want to put the product right there on your blog, and it will allow you to do that. So, yeah, just depends on which way you want to go with that. Recurring payments is sort of a big deal. You can generally do that through PayPal Payments Pro, but it also has to tie in with the plugin, is my understanding. Cart66 offers it. This is a big deal. No gift certificates? That's a BFD. That's a big deal because generally people want gift certificates. Does offer coupons, as far as I can tell. Everyone offers coupons. And then here's the big heavy list of what payment methods they offer. And I will weigh in here as well. There's a reason people use Authorize.net, because every client I've ever had has come to me claiming the beauteousness of the Bank of Outer Saudi Arabia and how they claim in multiple languages over the phone multiple times how easy their payment methods are to integrate. They are liars, a lot of them. It is a miserable experience, and there's a reason why Authorize costs more, because it's easy to do. And if a client tells you that they want to use something besides Authorize, I have Skillet. You can borrow it. It's on a loan program. It's a virtual product. So, right. So you really want to think about the payment processor. That's a really big deal. And then, the thing that gets overlooked a lot is the support mechanisms for this plugin. And I'll be honest, they vary widely. They vary widely for a lot of reasons. One is most people start out by using the free version of the plugin, for which the support is, as expected, poor. In some cases, it's 0. So we'll go through and you'll find out who's using what. But in the case of Cart66, you've got access to some free forums, which are generally community answered. And then if you have the paid version, obviously you can log a ticket and they will get back to you. In each case, there were add-ons. I didn't cover all the add-ons. I can tell you which ones have more and which ones have less. Well, you were just delighted by something up there, really? Okay, cool. The big deal about Cart66 is Gravity Forms tie-in. Everybody knows what Gravity Forms is? Yeah, it's the super, super awesome form tool. Also idiot-proof. Zendesk. Zendesk is customer support, constant contact, so you can harass everyone you know. You can't use any of these unless you have the paid version of the plugin. If you have the free version, you will just sit there annoyingly punching keys on your computer wondering why nothing works. There's no upsell or cross-sell. That was actually fairly limited in the product, so we'll go into that. But upsell and cross-sell is when you can say, like you go to Amazon, they say, well, if you like these rubber boots, perhaps you would also like this umbrella or a house in a drier state. So that's cross-sell. And upsell is, if you like these boots, perhaps you would like them better with a waterproof seal on them, which is $10 extra. That's upsell. So it's a huge big deal because every stat ever done on this shows that, of course, upsell and cross-sell works remarkably well. All right, so light version's free. The paid version is around $70. There's a dev license. That was somebody stealing one of your cars. Anybody should like? Do we have an over/under? Okay, so WP-Ecommerce. So WP-Ecommerce has been around the longest, which means it's had the longest incubation period for bugs, and it's got them, and it's an ongoing process to work them all out. But you know, it has the most bugs because, being fair, and everyone has mirrored this, it also has the most functionality. It's like a monster. It's the big daddy of e-commerce for WordPress. So you get everything you get in Cart66, the digital, the physical, the variations, the subscriptions. I'm becoming Susie Orman in my old age. I apologize. For shipping, I mean, I actually asked a bunch of people, to tell me what to say during this presentation, and all of them universally said that it had the best shipping tables. So when you get into shipping, there are a couple different ways that you can ship, right? There's by weight, there's by quantity, there's by amount of money people have spent, that's, the flat rate, and then there are a whole bunch of live tables that are made available to people. USPS, UPS, FedEx, and then depending on what wacky country you're shipping to, there are a whole bunch of other ones, Canada. This one has Australia and New Zealand because the writer lives in New Zealand. So that's how you bring in, type in your zip code and I'll tell you how much it's going to cost to ship it to you. So Cart66 only has UPS and USPS. This one has FedEx and ShipWire because clearly everyone's shipping things to New Zealand these days. For the code that we talked about, here you have the option of short code or custom post type. So you get both options. And then WP-Ecommerce introduces something called template tags. So we are all semi-familiar with the concept of hooks. Template tags are the equivalent in regular WordPress of get the category, get the cats, things like statements more like that. So now you have template tags in WP-Ecommerce. Why is that important? If you are a developer and you want to tap into what is kind of like an API, basically, this allows you to do it. And we didn't have that in Cart66, so now we have something a little bit more robust here, right? Payment, recurring, gift certificate, coupon, everyone under the blue sun. The support, there's free forums, there's pay tickets. Everyone did universally say there's a ton of documentation, which is great because we also universally acknowledge that the forums are not so awesome. But therefore, if you haven't paid for the plugin. In terms of the add-ons, also because it's been around the longest, it has the biggest extension library out there. I mean, they're just extensions upon extensions upon extensions. Some of the more popular ones are called Dropshop, drop shipping. There's an affiliate plugin. If you've ever gone to a WordCamp, you've probably bought off of the ticketing plugin. There's international support, upsell, cross-sell, buy big birds and unicorns, the whole 9 yards. One of the neater things is that there's intense debate wrap-in. So intense debate is basically a commenting engine like Discuss. So now people can comment on products. The light version is light and it's free, and paid version is $40, and there's a dev version. So that's WPEC.